Are we both in the picture?
Yeah.
How long is the interview?
Yeah, you both in the picture from shoulder to shoulder.
Okay.
Both you're like mirrors. You got your arm.
Yeah.
That's fine. As long as it takes. There's no
Okay.
there's no right or wrong because
Okay.
it's going to be. But I want you to do this so that you don't
Okay.
come unhooked. Carol, that one is the one that's caught. Please. Just pick up the tripod. There you go.
It's not the tripod.
Oh, it's on
The table, I think.
yeah. No, it won't. No, it
There
won't.
we go. Now we're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Greetings. It's Peter Schmitz, the author of the upcoming book, One Inspires Many, Be the One, and I'm here today with one of my Dare to Try teammates, McKyla Hanson, and we just finished the Wakanda Triathlon today along with 9 other of our teammates. So we're just having this little conversation after we're rested a little bit, huh? So she's got an amazing, amazing story, and so I'm going to have her start by just telling us where are you from and how to McKyla. Tell me a little bit about McKyla.
I am actually from a little town in Davison, Michigan, and there's probably population 20,000, and I am an amputee cancer survivor since the age of 7, and I am also working on my certification to become a prosthetist.
That's right, you told me that.
Yes.
And are you specializing in your prosthetic?
Training?
Yeah.
Eventually I would like to, but right now because I'm going to be so new within the field, I'd rather see as much as I can and perfect my skills that I'm weak on and try and just have an open mind actually.
So what got you interested in that before we come back to your story as a 7-year-old?
Into
Prosthetics.
yes, just helping out people in general has always been a niche of mine, and I've always wanted to be a part of the healthcare field. It was just trying to find what healthcare position I would be better at. And
Yeah,
I know
you've been around it a long time with
Correct.
your history, so tell us your story. You're 7 years old. Go ahead, I'm going to let you tell the story.
Okay, so I was 7 years old actually when I was initially diagnosed with cancer, and the cancer that I was diagnosed with was rhabdomyosarcoma.
Okay, say that again slower.
Rhabdomyosarcoma.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But
yes, it is. And this kind of cancer, it is a bone cancer, but then it ends up going into the muscle, and it's a very aggressive type of cancer. And so in order for me to be present here today, I had to have my leg amputated 3 times above my right knee.
When you were 7?
When I was 7, correct.
Now back up and tell me this story because you are a foster child, if I remember right.
Yes, yes. My sister and I were both placed into foster care at the age of, I was 6 years old actually.
Okay.
And so we had to go to a few different foster homes, and when I had just turned 7, that's when I started discovering a lot of pain in my right leg, and not too long after my 7th birthday in the fall of 1994,
Okay.
that was when I found out that the reason why I was having a lot of pain was because of the cancer.
Right, but I remember you telling me you were with one foster parent and you got moved to another foster parent. So tell me a little bit about that story.
Yes, it was, there have been so many ways, even before I lost my leg, I had to adapt in so many different ways in order to fit into all these different foster homes that I was placed into. And so my foster home that I was in prior to being adopted into another foster home,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Well, it does. But when was your first? How old were you at your first foster home?
I was 6.
6. Okay. So that's when you got placed the first time.
Yes.
And it's that foster parent that was in it for the money, is what I think you told me. They
Yes.
weren't in it.
They were not in it for the love, and they could have cared less about my feelings, or whether or not I got enough to eat, or if I had clothes that did not have tears in them.
Wow.
And so I had to battle. It was every day. I had to battle to try and find my place in this home that said that they loved us, but truly they did not.
And I think you told me your sister is the one that went to bat for you to get you guys
moved.
switched or moved to
Yes,
another house.
She did, yes, and she's actually 2 years older than me, and she is affiliated also with Dare to Try because she
Really?
came to my very first para-tri race.
Okay.
Yes, she was my handler.
So it was in this. You're 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and you discovered your second foster home.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that, because you said they took care of you right away.
Yes, yep. My actually was my third. The second one they didn't, but then my third foster home, they knew right away that my sister and I, we were young kids and that we have a long life ahead of us. And so they knew that my leg was hurting me, and they took me the second day of meeting me. They took me to the doctors and to find out what was going on with my right leg. And it was then that we all found out that I had cancer, and that, you know, it was very critical for me not to play on my leg anymore, or, you know, to do anything abrupt because the cancer could spread further.
And what did the doctors do for you at that point? I think you told me they...
Yes, they braced my leg for a little bit, actually, for about a month before they went ahead and operated, because the cancer was just spreading so fast. They had to eventually operate. That was the only way around it.
And so, but you said they operated 3 times.
Yes.
In 1 year. In 1 year.
Yes, the cancer that I had, it was rare. There were only 8 other cases diagnosed, so I was the 9th case that anyone has ever heard about this cancer. Maybe there are more cases out there, or there were at the time, but no one was, you know, research.
Okay.
They were not, you know, public. It was not in the public, I guess,
Okay.
you know, available. So I was the 9th one, and they had no survivors with this kind of cancer because
The other 8 died.
the other 8 died.
Wow.
Because sometimes, you know, when you have cancer, you have the option of operating around it and to try to just get the cancer affected area out, you know, but then go back and sew it up, or take, you know, bone marrow from a different part, you know, of a
Okay.
bone and replace whatever else is being taken out.
But then why did they amputate for you versus that method? That's interesting.
Yes, because my foster parents, they knew the little bit of research that they did have available to them. They knew it was an aggressive cancer and it would come back and it would spread. And so they said, we need her to get her leg amputated, because, you know, if that spreads to her organ, she's gonna die.
Okay. So, but why 3 times in 1 year? That doesn't, most people would wonder, why would you do that?
Right, because the doctors wanted me to be their little guinea pig. and they wanted to get as many tests as they could get done for their projects that they were trying to accomplish.
So this was research kind of
So
stuff.
it was research. It
And
was
they're-
all about research.
And all about making money in some of those cases.
making
But
money.
you were a guinea pig.
But I was a guinea pig, and that's why I ended up having 3 amputations.
So explain to me, because you said earlier that they had to go cut it above
Above
the
the
joint.
knee. Yep. They cut it. They knew that they had to go above as much distally as possible wherever the cancer is at. So for instance, you know, my cancer, it was discovered in the knee. So the highest joint next would be the hip.
Okay.
And instead, they were like, oh, well, if we just take out the knee, then, you know, we can try and get more tests done. It'll probably come back, you know. So, and, you know, shockingly,
It came back.
It came back. And so they're like, well, if we just go the thigh, then of course it's not going to come back, you know. And
Wow, you're
Came back
7
again.
years old and 3 times you're getting amputated.
amputated, yep. And out of all 3 times, I kept getting a new leg. And
I was going to
kept-
ask you, that was my next question. Did you get a new leg every
I
time?
did. And you know what? The first prosthetic leg, it was just like, it was magic for me, pretty much. I mean, I didn't know what magic was, but I knew that magic for me was having a leg to go out and play with my friends.
That didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt.
Could you run?
I could run.
Yes.
Skip run.
Well, but still, you could run, you could play without
Yes,
the pain and without.
Exactly. And so when they said the cancer came back a second time, they said the cancer's back again, then I said, well, it's okay if you have to take more of my leg, because my prosthetist, his name was Tom, he said, I told them, Tom will just make me a new leg.
That's good.
That was my, and I
That was
said it
your
with
answer.
a smile on my face. The doctor said, well, we're going to have to amputate again. And I said, well, it's okay, because I'll be able to get another leg.
You have an amazing attitude. Most people wouldn't say that. So you're 7 years old, and now you have after 3 operations, you're off at your what's
Yes.
missing? Your hip
My
or your
hip and my pelvis.
and your pelvic.
Half my pelvis on the right
Why
side.
half your pelvic if it's a joint up to the joint kind of thing?
Yep, it is up to the joint, but your pelvis, you know, there's one pelvis on the left side and one pelvis on the right, and then it's joined together by, here's a little anatomy, by our pubic symphysis.
That's
So-
what I sit on when I'm riding my bike.
Yes.
I know the pain of that
So
spot.
they just took out the pubic symphysis and half my pelvis.
Okay.
So I have everything on the left side.
So now you have a leg that's basically a hip and a leg all together. And how's that working for you? Is Tom taking care of you?
Tom is no longer my prosthetist, actually.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, yes. But I'm actually becoming my own prosthetist.
You're going to make your own legs?
Maybe. It's possible.
It's possible.
It is very
I know
well
Melissa
possible.
does.
Yes.
She makes her own legs.
Yep.
So now you're 7 years old and you're an amputee.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like to be a 7-year-old and face the world as an amputee?
It was scary. It was, you know, the doctors said I couldn't do so many things. They wrote me a list and they said you can't run, you can't ride a bike. You know, if you walk, that you're going to be walking with a walker or crutches. And
Because you didn't have a leg, or because they just told you can't do that stuff, period? I mean, that's what I don't understand.
Let's just say out of the entire amputee population, my amputation level makes up 2%.
Okay, so
of
they
the
just
entire
don't,
amputee population.
they don't know.
They didn't have any literature on it, you know. The literature that they had was people are sitting in bed, they're obese, you know. It's hard work when you're missing a whole limb.
It is hard work, no doubt. I mean, I'm with you all weekend. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And so all the doctors told me everything that I could not do because it's easier for them to say what I can't do.
Well, and no offense
You
to
know?
the doc, they don't know, and so they're going to take the side of caution. So how did you? Because I remember the story. You learned you could do stuff. How did that
Yes.
happen?
I was feeling sorry for myself, and ever since the doctor said I couldn't do things, and so I just said, well, fine, I'll just lay on the bed and people will be my chauffeurs, you know.
Yeah, you had all these foster sisters and brothers, right?
Yes.
Surf, take
it's
care of me.
perfect, right. And it was going well, and then my family, my parents.
No, back up. Tell the story about you made them go get you stuff.
Yeah, I did. I would be lying in bed, and I said, go grab me a glass of milk, and they'd go get me the milk, but that wasn't good enough. Go get me a sandwich, you know?
Yeah,
and it was like,
I'm feeling
wow.
sorry for myself.
Yeah, you know, where I need a book to read. I have nothing to do. I'm just laying in bed. And so, you know, for a while it was okay. And they said, yeah, we can get this stuff for you. And then, you know, it got annoying real fast. And they said, no, like, you know, you're missing your leg. You're not missing your arms.
Who said that to you?
My parents.
Your parents said that to you.
My parents said, you are not missing your arms, you're missing your leg, and there are things that you can do, you know, but this is your option. They were like, we don't know what you're going through, and they did tell me that. They said, we don't know what it's like, you know. Yes, we do imagine it's hard, but they said, we are not going to sit here and show for you. You either get up and do something or lay in bed and feel sorry for yourself. And it was like
strong words
for a 7-year-old.
Yeah, strong words.
And so I was like, all right. So I strapped my leg back on and I walked out with my shoes, and I'm going to go ride a bike.
And you did?
And I did. Yep, I got on a bike.
Did you crash?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yep, but I got back up. Yep, because, you know, I had my siblings, and they said, well, let's race. Okay.
Oh, so you're going to race now.
So now we got to race.
So just ad lib. How many siblings did you have at this point?
8.
Oh, you had 8 siblings.
I had 8 at the time.
Because you were in a foster home. I remember you telling me that these people fostered a lot of kids over the years.
Yes, over 50.
Wow.
Over 50 kids. And eventually they ended up adopting 12 of us, and the 3 oldest are their biological.
So they have 3 and they adopted 12 more?
Yes.
15 kids.
15 kids total.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And
God
like
bless
I said, some days we go by numbers, so I'm the 5th oldest.
So you learn to ride a bike, and then you're racing your siblings.
Maybe that's why I'm so tiny, because I'm not fast enough to the dinner table, and there's
Well,
never
could be.
food.
I grew up with 6. He who ate the fastest got the most.
Yes, exactly.
There's some truth in that. So what else did you do as a 7 or 8-year-old now? Because you learned,
Yes,
you
so I
obviously learned how to ride a bike.
I had a sister. She wasn't my biological sister, but she was close in my age. So we ended up graduating high school together, and she was pretty much my motivator, actually, all throughout middle school and elementary school and even high school. And you know, whatever she did, I was like, I have to try that. And
That's
you know,
pretty
I
cool.
found out fast I wasn't great at running. I mean, I could try and catch up, but it was hard. And you know, putting on bowling shoes, like, it was difficult, but I could still do it. And you know, there were limitations, but there was nothing that I could not. It was all up in my head.
It's all up in your head. So when did you told me you were a swimmer. You became
Yes,
a
I
swimmer.
was a swimmer.
Tell me about that.
So my sisters, they ended up they tried out for cheerleading and dance.
Okay.
And I said, I really want to do that. You know, I want to be on an organized sport. And it was 6th grade, and you know, they said, yeah, why not? Go try out. So, you know, here I am at tryouts, and, you know, of course you have to audition to do so many different dances and stuff. And here I am, they call my name back, and I go back and do the move that they want. And they're like, well, you know, that was good. And so I go back out into the hallway and wait again to see if I get called back again, you know. And, you know, there were probably 25 of us girls, and my sisters were in there too. And so they got called back, and they didn't call me back. And, you know, I was like, well, why not? And so finally they call me back, and they're like, you made the team. And I was like, really? And, you know, even though I didn't try out again, like, and they're like, yeah, you made the team. And I was like, this is great. You know, I was so happy. And so then
You're in 6th grade now.
in 6th grade. And so then later on, at the end of, during that evening, you know, we're all sitting around the dinner table and stuff, and my siblings are like, yeah, are you glad you know you made the team? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm really happy. I'm so happy I can be a part of the sport with you guys. And they're like, well, you know, this is great and stuff, but you didn't audition again. And I was like, well, no, but they said I made the team. And they're like, McKyla, there's something we need to tell you. And I was like, oh, great, you know. And so they said, you didn't really, you know, make the team. You're going to be like an assistant. You know, they didn't want to break your heart, the coaches. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, and they were like, that's pretty much what it is. Like, you didn't make it. Like, it's hard for you to dance.
No, I get, yeah, they could see that, but.
Yes.
So how did you feel about that?
I cried. Yeah, I was real bummed. I was like, there's unbelievable. Like, why? Why would someone have you make a team and you're not really that good?
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know? And so I was like, what am I going to do? Like, and so then, you know, a week goes by, and my sisters come back and they say, you know, swimming is just right around the corner. And I was like, swimming? And they're like, yeah. Like, I think maybe you should try that out. You should try swimming. Like, you'd be surprised. And so,
it's
you know,
mostly arms, the reality. So.
And so I was like, okay, well, you know, I was still numb from the not making the dance team, but I was like, yeah, I think I will. I think I'll go try out swimming. And sure enough, you know, I get in the water, and the coach is amazing, and they were like, yeah, you're on the team. Like, apparently they always need swimmers.
Well, they do, that's true, but I hope it's not a repeat of the dance thing.
No, it was, I felt belong. Like, there was another girl that also had CP, and she was on the swim team too. And, you know, and they told me, they're like, yeah, with some good coaching, we can get you far on this team.
Yeah, I was a swimmer, so I understand what you're saying is
right.
they always need people.
It was so awesome, because it's like, you know, you really have to look hard to know if that person is missing a leg in the water.
True.
You know, like, you're just like everyone else.
Till you get out.
Till you get out, you know. But yeah, I mean, I fit right in, and it was amazing. And so, you know, they threw me into different, like, swimming categories. I was a butterflyer. I did some backstroke, freestyle. You know, they kept wanting me to go back to butterfly, and I was like, I don't like butterfly. And
I didn't either.
And you know, and so they said, well, we're gonna have diving tryouts one day, because we really need some divers, because that's where all the points come from.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna try out. And they're like, huh? And I was like, nope, I'm gonna try out. And so they said, well, sure enough, you can go in and try out. And so, you know, my coach that had the tryouts, he said, you know, calling off different dives, and he said, you can do a front flip, did a front flip, or not a front flip, but a front dive. So I did a front dive, not a problem, you know. And then he says, well, can you do, you know, a back flip? And I was like, sure. So I had no idea, but, you know.
You never did one before?
No. You know, I just thought what everyone else was doing, and they did it pretty well. And so I was like, well, I'm going to try. So I ended up, there was like 5 girls that tried out, and 3 of us made it, actually.
So, wait, well, how was your first backflip?
I got a back smacker. Yep,
Yeah.
I instantly did my first back smacker, and it hurt so bad, but I get out of the water, I'm like, I'm gonna try that again, and he said, nope, you just made the team. Like, so
I'm starting to see this pattern in your life that you never quit, you never
I
give
never
up.
quit. I never gave up.
Where does that come from?
My family, they've always been there. My parents, they always said,
Is it your mom or your dad, or both?
both. It's both of them. They've always been hard workers, and they established that example for me to look up to them. They've always thought, for instance, whenever we wanted our friends to stay the night, they always said, well, what's one more?
Well, in that household, yeah, what's one more? You don't even notice them. Give them a number, right?
Right. And same for my siblings. They were just as active as I was, and some of them still are. So.
Amazing parents.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were 7 and your mom told you could do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
that's a defining moment in your young life.
Yes, it was. It definitely was, because, I mean, I went from feeling sorry for myself to
sitting on the couch or laying in bed and
to changing the world. I mean, trying to at least. And
yeah, those are significant, and I'm glad you recognize it, because I had that in my life, and that's in part of my book. But most people miss those,
right?
And they don't see the significant impact it can have on their life.
Right.
And some people do.
And it can.
And you can have more than one. It's not like you only have one, but it obviously changed your life.
Yes, it definitely did.
For the better.
For the better. Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, so now you're a swimmer in high school and all this.
In high school. So come my senior year, I was getting sad because I'm a competitive person.
No kidding. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, what am I going to do when I graduate? There's no organized sport I can be on, and how can I show people how good I'm at? I have like my diploma and stuff, but doesn't everybody get that? Like,
and then what? So how did you get involved with triathlons?
So I've always had that itch to be involved in triathlons because of swimming, I guess. And
so you knew what they were before, because it's interesting.
Nope, I never knew what it was. I just, I heard about triathlons through my prosthetist, actually, and she was my prosthetist back in Michigan, and she was intrigued by the fact that I was.
This is your prosthetist after Tom, right?
Yeah,
Tom
after Tom.
Okay, so.
Yep, or in the mid, I guess.
Whatever,
it was
you're
like
a teenager
transition.
or something, yeah.
Yeah, because, they knew during my teen years it was hard for me to wear a prosthetic leg, and my parents forced this on me, and they said, you have to wear your leg, you have to. They were trying to make me.
What were you going to do instead of wear your leg?
Hop. I was a hopper.
You were a hopper on one leg?
On one
Not
leg.
with crutches?
Nope, I would hop all the time.
You would go to high school and hop down the hallway?
Yep, and my parents were like, absolutely not, you're wearing your leg. Like, and they weren't threatening me, but they were like, they definitely said, if you don't wear your leg, then you're going to ride the short bus.
What does that mean?
Or, they'd ground me for a weekend if I didn't wear my leg.
So what was their reason for wanting you to wear your leg?
They knew that my good leg would be safe, like no bone fractures.
Okay, so just the hopping has its...
Hopping's not good. It has its...
Well, over time, yeah.
Yes, and so...
You must have been a good hopper.
Oh, yeah, like balance and everything.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, and so, yeah, even when they were like, you have to wear your leg, I would break it on purpose. Like, I was like, I'm not wearing my leg, it's broken. Like, well, what
you're kind of a brat.
I was one of those childs. Yes.
Wow.
So, in between Tom and this new prosthetist, Kara, she was learning and going through her training. They figured maybe I just need a female prosthetist to really, understand what I'm going through, with puberty and everything like that, and trying to get through. And so, she pretty much said my senior year, she said, I got a new job offer and I'm moving out to California. And I was like, oh, like, you're kidding, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're like best friends.
Yeah.
Like, she'd pick me up whenever I had appointments for my leg when I broke my leg, she'd
on purpose?
Yeah, she would pick me up, and so that's part of the other reason why I broke it, because then she'd pick me up and, she'd get me McDonald's too, and it was great,
You're definitely a brat.
Don't say that on video.
Okay, well, you just did. So anyway, so tell the story. She went to California.
Yeah, so she got a new job offer, started working for a prosthetic company in California, and she found out about the Challenge Athletes Foundation and the San Diego Triathlon Challenge, because she was in that area.
Okay.
And she looked into it and she went to the race, and you know, she found out that it's like this huge half Ironman race that anyone with a physical disability can come out and do, and or even if you don't have a physical disability, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like she
CAF
saw,
is an amazing organization.
yeah, Robin Williams was out there doing it. You know,
The actor Robin Williams.
yes, the actor Robin Williams was out there doing it, and some other people like Bill Walton. I think he's a huge basketball player.
Yep.
He was out doing it, and so she called me up and she said, "This is incredible. Like, I'm bringing you out here. I'm flying you out here, and you're gonna check this out, and you know, I'll pay for everything while you come out here and experience
Wow,
this."
nice
and,
friend.
Yeah, and so I was 19 years old, boarding my first flight to California.
Wow.
Yup.
Big event.
It was amazing.
Another defining moment.
Yes,
but anyway,
it
so you
was
go to
amazing.
California.
Yes, so I go to California and I check out this event and I meet Robin Williams and, you know, some other celebrities, and I was just like, this is inspiring. Like,
Now, did you compete in that one or just
nope,
watch?
I just spectated,
Okay.
just to see what it was all about, and I checked out the swim and I was like, wow, they're swimming in the ocean, and, you know, it's definitely not like the pool.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely not.
So, and I see like other amputees, like, you know, double above knee amputees,
Yes.
like running, like Rudy Garcia Tolson, and you know, army amputees, and you know, all different kinds of equipment. I'm just like, this is something I need to do. And so, you know, Kara said, well, if you want to do it, then you're going to be the swimmer, because it's so hard to find swimmers for a triathlon.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And
Oh, so you're gonna do a relay?
Relay, yep. So I ended up training for this relay triathlon, and it was 1.2 miles, and so
It's a long way.
yeah. So I trained all year, and I was like, I'm gonna do this triathlon. I cannot wait. And so coming up to the following year, you know, 20 years old, supposed to go out and do this race. California gets these massive wildfires.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That wasn't that long
and
ago.
I trained so hard, and they were like, we are sorry, but we are delaying all the flights coming into California because it's just too bad, you know. And so I ended up not doing it. And I was like, imagine that. Yeah. Train all year and then, bam, canceled.
Yeah,
So
wow.
then, you know, I was like, well, I'm not going to be, you know, it's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep training because eventually I'll get out there. So I ended up training again, and I go out there and do this.
A year later.
A year
So
later.
you train another year.
Train another year.
This
Go
is
out
that
there.
not quitter instinct that's in you. Good Lord.
Exactly. Yep. So I ended up going out there and I do the swim portion, and it was amazing in the ocean, and I had a little buddy by me, and you know, it was just so inspiring to see everyone out there doing the same thing that you like to do.
Well, and they're all athletes with disabilities,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
and it was so cool. And so then, you know, it was fun and everything, but then I realized more of what CAF does for other people. And, you know, I was like, well, there's no way that I can't do a full race on my own, you know, and by full race, not like a full
no, but a triathlon on your own.
Yeah, like swim, bike, and run. And so I started looking into it, and I realized, okay, there's not really a lot of hips and hemis that are running on a prosthetic leg, but you know, some of them are doing
Wait a minute,
it.
back up. Hips and hemis, what is that?
Yes, that's the type of amputation level I have. Like
So there's not a lot of amputees with their hip gone that are running on an artificial leg.
Yes,
they're all
correct.
doing it in a what do you call it?
Oh no, recumbent or a hand cycle.
A hand cycle.
A hand
where you
cycle.
basically, because the writer
Right.
doesn't know this, you're pedaling with your hands.
Right, pedaling hand cycle. Yep, but not even that. Most of them are laying on the couch, feeling sorry for
Yeah,
themselves,
yeah,
you
that's
know,
very true.
and eating a lot of junk food. And so, you know, I ended up telling myself that there's no way I cannot do a whole triathlon, and so I'm gonna try and do a whole one next time. And so
So how old are you at this point? You're
22,
Two?
about
Okay.
22. And it was at the age of 22 when I started discovering some hip pain in my left leg.
In your good leg.
In my good leg. And
Uh-oh.
so, yeah, and so, you know, I was trying to ignore it. I was going to Michigan State working on my bachelor's degree in exercise science, actually. So I ended up starting experiencing that pain, but I was like, it's not going to stop me. I'm still going to keep trying to do my triathlon and train. And at this time, I was trying to train single leg above knee amputee. So I was using an upright bike.
Okay.
CAF got me a really nice, it was like a road bike.
Okay, road bike?
Or it was hybrid. So they bought me a really nice trek bike, and I was training on that bike. And then for the run, I was like, obviously I won't run with a running leg, but I can try crutches. So I was like training on forearm crutches.
So you didn't know about these other bikes that are...
I didn't know. I have no clue.
I mean, not a surprise, because until you get exposed to this stuff...
Because it's really sad, yeah.
You don't know about it.
No, even though I went to that race in San Diego, I still didn't know, like, you know.
So you're trying to run on crutches.
Run on crutches. I was running on crutches, yep, and then or hop running, yep. And then I was using the upright bike, and I was pedaling all with the one leg.
Yeah,
yep, doing
that's
the
what
pedaling
Levi does.
and pulling.
He does one leg.
Yep, exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah, it was hard, and like I said, I was experiencing hip pain. And so then, one of my last classes at Michigan State, I met my teacher who taught wheelchair basketball, and he was paralyzed, and he knew that I was training and everything, and he was like, well, I don't understand, like, you know, you're an amputee that lost your whole leg, but you're using a regular bike, like, why are you not hand cycling? And I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because that's why I'm not doing it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and so he was like, all right, I'm affiliated with an organization where they have a lot of hand cycles, and I'm gonna come out here next week, and we're gonna go hand cycling, and I will bring you it, and I will adjust it to you, and you will let me know how you feel about it, you know. So a week later, he came back out to the state, and
so he wasn't from Ann Arbor, or you were?
No, he is from Michigan.
Okay.
Yep. So he came out to Michigan State, to the college, and it was raining, and I was like, there's no way we're going on this bike ride. It's pouring outside, you know, and he just looked at me and he said, a little rain doesn't hurt anybody. And I was thinking, a little? Like, I'm drenched already. And, you know, he fit me to the bike, and we went out on a 15-mile bike ride, and my average was 12 miles at the very beginning.
12 miles an hour.
12 miles an hour.
And your first time in a hand cycle.
In a hand cycle.
And a hand cycle is where you're pedaling with your hands like this.
Pedaling with my arms, yep. Like this.
Oh, like
together.
this, okay.
Yeah, like that.
And there's gears, so it's like riding a bike, and
like
you can get pretty fast.
Exactly.
Because I know today you went how fast?
Yeah, my fastest today downhill was 30.
30 miles an hour in your hand cycle.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the hill I was telling you about. That's good. That's good. That's as fast as I go.
So that's when it dawned upon me, like, this is not the kind of race I need to be doing with the upright and the crutches. I need to be doing the hand cycle. So of course I get all excited, and I'm like, I'm gonna get me a bike, and you know, start raising money because I was a student, so I'm not making a lot of money at all.
No, and they're expensive. Those bikes are very expensive.
Yeah, so my prosthetic company ended up getting me my first hand cycle, actually. And then for the run, the CAF said you can try a race chair, and so I borrowed someone else's race chair. It was so big too, like I was moving all over in it. And
yeah, that would be bad. Yeah, you gotta be in there tight. Yeah.
Yes, and so, you know, but I was like, I'm still gonna do it. Like, I just stuffed it with foam and towels and stuff.
And so now you're 24-ish at this point?
Yeah, 24.
Okay.
And I ended up doing I was 23 when I did my first triathlon. 23 years old, in Davison, Michigan, or Ortonville, Michigan.
Okay, and you're 29 now, so 6 years ago you did your first triathlon.
My first triathlon, yep, and I was the only para-athlete out there on the course, and, you know, everyone was like, you're so inspiring, like, you know, and...
Well, you are, but you're the only one.
It was great, but I didn't really know, like, am I doing well? Like, what is it?
You have no point of reference.
No.
And nobody's helping you and all that. So anyway, so how did you find Dare to Try?
So then I end up calling back CAF, and I say, you know, I just finished this race. I love it. I'm hooked. Like, you do one and you are hooked.
Well, not everybody is, but you are. I can relate to that because I was.
Yes. So. And so they, you know, I say I want to be a part of their try team, and they were like, well, you could, but, you know, there's a team right by you. It's Dare to Try. And here's Carrie Sirota's number. Here's her email. Call her. She's really nice. She will help you out. And so instantly I email her, and she instantly replies, like, not even kidding you, like 1 minute later. It was like...
Wow. Now this is 6 years ago?
Yep, 6 years
ago.
ago.
So Dare to Try had just started.
They just started, yes. And so they...
You're one of the inaugural athletes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so they said, well, we just finished, like, you know, we're dwindling down with the season. This was end of July.
Okay.
And so they were like, we only have a few more events left, but they were like, if you can make it to Chicago Triathlon, you know, there's a category for you, we'll pay for your race entry fee, and, you know, just bring your equipment and we'll have you covered.
Wow.
And so I ended up, you know, my sister, who was adopted into the same family as me, my biological sister.
Okay.
My biological family. Yes.
So you come to
Lindsay,
Chicago for the Chicago Triathlon.
Yep, and
now how many racers are at Chicago Triathlon?
There were 6, I think.
No, 6 Paratriathletes.
Yeah,
but how many
wheelchair.
total?
Yeah, oh my gosh, like
6,000?
thousands.
Yeah, there's
Thousands of
last year there was
people.
7,000. So
Yes,
this is an enormous event.
Enormous, yes.
And it's your second triathlon.
My second triathlon, and I shocked myself. Actually, I did pretty well. I came in second place, so
That's pretty damn good.
It confirmed me that I went from my first try was like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and at the Chicago try was an hour and 50 minutes.
Excellent. That's outstanding.
Yeah, so I was like, "There's no way I should not be doing this. This is my sport."
This is your sport. You found your way.
And I was, but then, like I said, I was in 2012. Then after I had graduated from Michigan State, I started experiencing some hip pain like throughout my last year at Michigan State, and I was seeing some surgeons, and a few of the surgeons that I saw said, "You need a hip replacement." Another one said, "You need another hip replacement."
Really?
Yeah, and I kept going to I went to like 3 different ortho surgeons, and they said, you were a hopper. You need a hip replacement.
Wow, they knew that.
Yep, and my parents, that's exactly why my parents said, you need to wear your leg. You cannot just hop.
So what happened with that? That's interesting. You went to 3 doctors,
August,
and they all said you need a hip replacement.
Yep,
and you're 24 years old.
Yep, 24. In August of 2012, I went to my final surgeon, and he said, I only do hips and knees. And he said, I know you're an athlete. And he said, there's a certain way I can go in and make sure you recover fast, and it won't come out of the socket. We'll make sure we put in extra screws there. I'll go in through the buttocks area, the glutes, and that's better for healing and everything. And he said, in no time at all, you should be back to racing. But he said, you can run. If you want to run on a prosthetic leg, you can hop. But he said, just keep in mind, if you do those things, then I'll be coming back to do another hip replacement in like 10 years.
So you have a hip replacement?
Yeah, on my left. And that was another bump in the road, because I was
Wow.
like, how do I go from, having a hip now done, a total hip replacement. At the age of 24. And so it was like nine months of recovery, of healing and rehab.
Yeah, that's no small deal.
And I was trying to finish my master's degree in prosthetics and orthotics, and it set me back a year, but I ended up graduating with that degree in 2015. And now I'm working in the field, and I'm fully healed from the hip replacement, but I don't dare to hop. And I
Yeah, you better not.
I don't break my prosthetic leg anymore.
And how many legs you got? I'm just curious. You got a bunch of different legs?
Yeah, like 3 now.
3?
3 different ones, yeah.
And so you're on the Dare to Try elite team.
Yes, correct. Yep.
For how many years you been on elite team?
This is my second year.
Second year. And how many triathlons will you do this season?
This season, I'm only doing 4. This time.
Only 4?
Yep, 4. Last season, I did 13.
13?
Yes. Like every weekend, I had a race. And
That's a lot of races.
That's probably why summer flew by, because I was like, wait, it's already winter now.
Yeah, I thought I did a lot. That's a lot.
Yes. So
13.
So this year I'm doing 4, and as time gets closer, because I do have the Olympics, and I foresee them in my near future.
The Olympics?
The Olympics, yes. I would like to go to the Paralympics, actually, for paratriathlon, even though my class isn't going this season.
The wheelchairs are not going this year? Okay.
Only the female wheelchair athletes.
Well, you're female.
Yeah, we can't go, but the male wheelchair athletes can go.
Oh, so the females cannot go?
No, the
okay,
females
I misunderstood.
cannot.
I know it's a goofy.
Yeah,
the ruling was really
I know.
odd.
It's silly, but I'm hoping in
Next time
2020
they'll
that we
change
can
it.
all go. Yeah.
So you're training to be considered for the Olympics.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yes, I want to. Yep, this will be my second national competition in August.
Oh, that's right. We're going to California.
Yep, I already went to 1, and I did really well there. I took 3rd place, actually.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Outstanding.
And so if I can point at this race, then I should, or if I can place at this race top 3, then I can get points for being actually like time. Like,
Yeah, I don't know how they do that, but it's a point system. You
point
got to earn a spot on the team.
Right.
I mean, I know we have 4 people, I think, or was it 6 that are going
4
to the
people.
Olympic? 4 going to Olympics from Dare to Try. So next
So-
time we'll have more.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Well, thank you. It's all true.
Well, yeah, because I know you were telling me a story earlier. The shark got your leg, and that wasn't true.
That wasn't true.
Yeah, that wasn't
This
true.
one is true.
So what would you say to someone considering a triathlon?
to not give up, to always follow your dreams, and you know, it may hurt now, but you know, after the 2 hours, it will not hurt. It'll feel good.
But it's interesting how you never give up.
No.
And that comes from your parents?
Yes, it came from my parents.
But it's a big part of who you are.
Definitely. And even though they were never athletes, but you know, it's just that little voice in the back of my head that just, you know, you can never do this, you can never do this. But it's like, yes, I can.
Are you? So you're. I mean, if I was to paraphrase that, you're kind of proving a point.
Proving a point.
To who?
To myself.
Okay.
To myself.
So because I can relate to that.
Yes.
You're proving to yourself that
I can do it.
You can
that
do
I'm
it,
able to do
that you're
it.
able. Is part of it that you're a whole person, even though we're disabled?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
Isn't
I'm
that
essentially
interesting?
like normal, you know, if you want.
Yeah. No. I mean, we're disabled, but we're proving, and I proved to myself just like today that I can do it. And you know.
And you did. You took first place.
Well, I'm in a different category. An arm is a lot different than a leg.
Yes.
So that's an interesting question. If you had a choice between an arm and a leg.
Oh, see, I can't answer that question because
Okay.
I don't. Well, I mean, in a way I can because I did break my arm once, and I was in a cast for 12 weeks.
Then you have an idea what it's like.
No, yes, I think a leg for sure.
Really?
Yes, because we're so, you know, picking up things.
Very
and
true.
Driving and writing
And I would say just the opposite.
Really?
Because when you lose a leg, you lose your mobility.
But not really.
Well, but I don't really. I mean, I have electric hand.
Right.
And there's
Right.
not anything. I mean, I have 10 arms. And there's nothing I don't do.
Right.
It's interesting that because I've asked this of other
Other people.
amputees, and it's always the one they.
They don't.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
It is.
Well, that's about all I have for my questions. It's
Okay.
fascinating to hear your story, and,
Well,
and
thank
I
you.
understand they're doing a movie story or video.
Yes, a documentary on me, and it should be all produced and on air with ESPN. It's one
ESPN.
of their 30 for 30 documentary shows that they do. Like
What is 30 for 30?
It's like top 30 movies that have really inspired, you know, and have bettered ESPN, essentially.
Well,
And so
your story is quite
hoping-
inspiring. When you get it all, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Well,
I
thank you.
didn't know you had a hip replaced till just now.
Yes, I did.
You left that out earlier. So,
Sorry
was there anything
about
else you left out?
No.
She's doing 2 marathons this year.
You're doing 2 marathons this year.
2? I am? Oh, that one I did not know.
So 26 miles
Yeah.
in a hand cycle.
Yes, 26.
Okay, still, that's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, well, we've been talking for quite a while, so,
Okay.
but
Well,
thanks
thank
very
you.
much. It's
You're
quite
welcome.
a story.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
appreciate your time, and we will see you at Nationals.
Sounds good.
All right.
At the Detroit, and you already